The Big O Belt Wrestling Podcast is on the air, episode 153 for this Tuesday, May 16th, 2017. Hello. I'm Jamal, the Giant Crab on the tweeter machine, and joining me is my illustrious guest before his big show this Friday night at the Jewish Community Center of Northern Virginia. It's Mike King of Nova Pro Wrestling. Mike, how you doing, man?
Good, man. How are you doing today?
It's a good day. Nice day outside. The most important thing about today is that we are days away from your upcoming show at the Jewish Community Center. That's 8900 Little River Turnpike in Fairfax, Virginia. And this is the celebration of the only champion in the Washington, D.C. area.
The only cup the D.C. area has ever seen.
Ever. The last time the cup came close to Washington, there were a bunch of goons from Detroit murdered them. That was a shame. And that was 20 years ago. So it's been a long time coming for this championship star of town, and Logan has brought it home. All is right with the world. So with this show, man, it's going to be a big deal. But first, obviously, the name, the Great Grapsy. How did that come about?
So I don't know if you guys follow Progress Wrestling in the United Kingdom, but a while back they had a show called The Graps of Wrath. And I was a big fan of that. And I thought, I heard like Jim Smallman, the promoter of Progress, say that he always wanted to kind of have a play on words with his favorite group, with his favorite book, which is The Grapes of Wrath. So I thought, why don't I do a play on words with my favorite book, The Great Gatsby? And that's how The Great Grapsy was born.
No, it totally makes sense. It it's when I saw the name and I saw the poster for it, I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. It's pretty unexpected. And your posters, you're pretty badass, honestly. But yeah, about man, the show,
let me just plug our graphic designer real quick, Hayes. He's done every poster ever for Nova Pro Wrestling. He does excellent work. So if you need any graphic design needs, hit him up at Designs by Hayes.
.com?
Oh, on Twitter.
On Twitter. So at Designs by Hayes, you've seen his work. If you've seen Nova Pro's poster, hell of a job by him. But let's talk about the show a bit. In particular, a matchup that's probably the most interesting. It definitely stands out to me. And it's the Sandwich Squad, Mecha Mercenary and Aaron Biggs versus the odd tag team of John Kermon and Dominic Garrini, the Manly Male Associates, or MMA, if you will.
Is that the...
Yeah, man, the Manly Male Associates, John Kermon and Dominic Garrini. It's interesting.
How does that not like a Chippendales bit that they're doing?
I don't know, man. I think they're a lot tougher than Chippendales, though.
Well, I don't know, man. Have you seen Swayze on Saturday Night Live? I don't know.
Yeah, I guess Swayze is pretty badass.
Yeah, he is. Roadhouse.
But yeah, man.
Versus the Sandwich Squad. Oh, that's tough, man.
Yeah, it's a hell of a styles clash. I mean, like Kermon and Garrini, obviously well versed in MMA and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. They're two guys that can break probably anybody on the roster's arm in a second. And Mecha Mercenary and Aaron Biggs, two 400-pound behemoths that could probably eat anybody on the roster's arm. So it's a huge styles clash. I think I'm going to give the edge to the Sandwich Squad on this one. They've just been kind of unstoppable since they came to Nova Pro Wrestling. So Kermon has been on a hell of a roll. He beat Hot Sauce Tracy Williams in the Commonwealth Cup last month. So, it could be a hell of a match here.
I can't disagree with that, especially since we have the X Factor, the elephant in the room, if you will, which is usually a 6 to 7 foot long sandwich. That definitely motivates many, but the Sandwich Squad it usually sits into another level. Jake Roberts had Damien. Paul Undertaker had Paul Bearer in the urn. Sandwich Squad has Blimpies or Wegmans or whoever they have, but my God, that sandwich moves mountains for them. Another match that's
whatever gets you the win gets you the win. Some people fight for money, some people fight for championships. These guys fight for hoagies. So
yeah, I mean, I don't blame them. I wish we had like a Sheetz or a Wawa's down here. Then it would really take things to the next level. But another match that is very, very interesting is, of course, Fred Yehi and Jonathan Gresham. That that may be the most high-profile match on the card, arguably so. And that's another one that is that their first time wrestling, or I mean, because it's definitely the first time I've heard of that matchup.
It's the first time in a long time. The last time they wrestled was in 2012, and Fred Yehi certainly wasn't the wrestler he is today, and Jonathan Gresham certainly isn't the wrestler. In my eyes, it's the first time ever, just because how much travel and how many these guys have picked up in those 4 or 5 years since their last match. So to me, that makes it a first time ever. But these guys are two of the best kept secrets in independent wrestling, two of the best unsigned talents in the world, and they're absolutely going to tear it up on Friday night. Yeah,
absolutely. That if that's definitely worth the price of admission of admission alone. But another matchup that's certainly worth your $20 at the Nova Pro wrestling show, that is the Great Grapsy this Friday night. You have Sis making her debut versus Veda Scott, Faye Jackson, and Brittany Blake. That's another one where it's like, that's just, you don't know who's going to win. That's what the unpredictability of this match is, where how do you choose a winner?
I got to say, it could go any way. Brittany Blake, kind of player of the Nova Pro women's division, more matches in Nova Pro than any other woman on the roster.
Right.
Certainly a heavy favorite in any match she's in. And then, of course, there's Veda Scott, who, you can't deny that she always has something up her sleeve. She always has an extra trick in her bag. And then you have Faye Jackson, who certainly made an impression on everybody last month at the Commonwealth Cup, and certainly is looking to avenge that loss against Brittany Blake. And then you have the X factor in this, kind of the unpredictable one. I don't know if anyone who listens follows CWF Mid-Atlantic, but if they've seen her work down there, they know she's quite the hossette, as we like to call them.
Mm-hmm.
Quite a beast. So, like you said, it is hard to pick a winner in this one, but I'm as personally as a wrestling fan, I'm really excited to see how these four characters kind of mesh in the ring together on Friday night.
Right. No, absolutely. It's definitely one of those matches where you go, I never thought I needed that until it existed. Now I need to see it. And so we just gotta address something really quickly. The elephant in the room. Why do you guys schedule shows when you know that I'm out of town? Let's just clear the air here.
Why are you going out of town when I'm scheduling shows?
I mean, your schedule seemed to change a bit. I could have sworn this thing was supposed to happen on the 10th. Now here it's the 18th, or the 19th rather.
The show, at one point it was supposed to happen on the 12th, but that was many moons ago, my friend.
I see. Well, this this weekend I'm going to be in Chicago for NXT shenanigans, which is great. But I kind of have buyer's remorse knowing that this show is going to go down this weekend, miles from home. 700 miles is a long way to travel for something that I could see equally as good in the Capital Beltway. So for you, the listener, the viewer, wherever you are, be at the Nova Pro Wrestling Show, the Great Grapsy, on this Friday night, the 19th of May, at the Jewish Community Center down there in Fairfax, Virginia. And it's right there on Little River Turnpike. You can't miss it. The last match, because we're not going to give the whole card away, because there's definitely some surprises at Nova Pro. But the last match I definitely want to talk about. You have the street fight, Cutie and the Beast versus the Carnies. And you talk about a styles clash between Kermon and Garrini, the MMA, and the Sandwich Squad. But this is going to be very interesting. And honestly, I think it's going to be kind of cool to see little Innocent Isaiah go off. It seems this thing has been building for months. It's finally come to a head. Isaiah knows a lot about that, and it's going to go down this Friday night. Are you guys prepared to for the carnage that's going to be the Carnies versus Cutie and the Beast?
You that are well versed in your Nova Pro Wrestling history, you might remember about a year ago, there was a no holds barred match between Sonjay and Dutt back at the old Springfield building, where they did so much damage to that building that we weren't invited back ever.
Well,
And,
I couldn't tell, but that's a different problem.
And then, once we were invited back, Brandon Day and Tim Donst had an I Quit match where they broke a table, where they broke what was left of that building. Not invited back. So we've upped the insurance at the JCC for this one. This is, like you said, this has been brewing since October. This is a huge, rivalry between two of the top tag teams in Nova Pro Wrestling. Innocent Isaiah has gotten more violent than I've ever seen him get in all the years that I've known him. Beau Crockett has gotten angrier than I've ever seen him get in all the years I've known him. And Kerry Awful and Nick Iggy, two very dangerous men. For those of you that keep up with independent wrestling, you might have seen that a couple weeks ago at AIW, they had another street fight against the young studs of Eric Bryan and Bobby Beverly, where Kerry Awful was a complete bloody mess.
I heard about that.
That just goes to show you how far willing to go. And, with the kind of grudge that has been brewing between these two tag teams, I'm incredibly excited and also kind of concerned to see what is going to go down this Friday night. Once again, it is a street fight between Cutie and the Beast and the Carnies. This will be going on this Friday night to kind of give people a chance. If you easily get sick, if you get sick at the sight of blood or any kind of other carnage, you might want to leave before this match. You might want to take your kids home before this match. You might want to, kind of throughout it, because it's gonna get violent and it's gonna get wild and have to be seen to believe.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Innocent Isaiah, as the name suggests, really isn't the type of person. He's a lover, not a fighter. But all that's going out of the window this Friday night at the JCC. And honestly, I'm a bit jealous. I'm a bit jealous for all of those that they get to go. I mean, granted, I'll be in Chicago, in the middle of a baseball and wrestling trip, but what are you going to do? Since I can't go, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't go. Get your tickets now, novaprowrestling.tumblr.com. Get them at the door at the JCC, 8900 Little River Turnpike. You'll be glad you did, because every time there's an Overpro show, I always see something that I didn't expect. The wrestling is great, sure. The places, the people are the people that you know, but you always see that one thing that goes, yep, didn't see that coming. But to top it all off, even though that's going to close the show, it would be remiss to not mention that the only champion in this town that we have is Logan Easton LaRoe, and somehow that just makes sense. And he will be there with the Commonwealth Cup, his Commonwealth Cup, not yours. You can't have it. You're not worthy. But you can bask in his glory. Go ahead.
The celebration of the 1%.
Well, he's the only one that has it. I mean, that's not a lie. He's the only guy. He's
the man. He's the first name. He's the first name on that cup. So
he's the only name on the cup.
That
Absolutely.
For now, but nobody can take that away from him.
Exactly.
There could be 100 Commonwealth Cups. One guy that won it first. So.
Yep. Right. So that and so much more happening this Friday night at the Jewish Community Center, May 19th. The Great Grapsy. You got to see it. You got to see it live. And that's one of the great things about wrestling, indie wrestling in your backyard. You don't have to fly to Chicago an hour and a half to see something that you think is cool. You can find some diamonds in the rough in your own backyard, and that's what Nova Pro Wrestling is, in your own backyard. Mike, it's always good to talk to you. It's always great to have you on. You will be back in June for June 10th. And if you can give us a little sneak preview, not necessarily at the show, but the show before the show, there's a seminar that's being held on the 10th at 3 p.m. And that's before your show that evening. A little word about what that's about.
So it's actually going to be an event where it's to the show that night, which is going to be a hell of a show. Already announced, Shane Strickland, Rachel Ellering making her return. A ton more, of course, your Nova Pro favorites, and you never know who might show up at Nova Pro Wrestling, but that's the night show. In the afternoon, we have Life is Like a Box of Chocolates, which is going to feature the future stars of Nova Pro. You might have seen it. This is an open invitation, an open call of sorts to any independent wrestler that is trained, any referee, any announcer, any valet, to come and try out for Nova Pro Wrestling. And so far, we have a list of over 30 names of people coming from all over. We have wrestlers from Iowa, we have wrestlers from Georgia, wrestlers from the Midwest, wrestlers from up and down the East Coast, wrestlers from right here in Virginia. We have wrestlers coming from even as far as Australia to be a part of Life is Like a Box of Chocolates. There will be no card given ahead of time. Just know that it's going to be a lot of fun and a lot of people that you've before, giving their all to you to try to earn a spot with one of the best independent promotions in the country right now. And also it's if you have a ticket to the night show, it's only $5. That's a hell of a deal for a great afternoon of wrestling. If you're going to both shows and you're getting front row for the night show, that's $30 for easily over like 10 or 11 hours of wrestling in one day. You can't beat that.
Right. You absolutely can't beat that. So the game plan is, it's in Annandale at the Firehouse. What you do is you go to the 3:30 show. You get yourself some Korean barbecue. You do a double header at the 7 o'clock show. You'll be glad you did. It's a great way to spend a Saturday, June 10th. But we'll talk about that more later as the date approaches. It's kind of like a wrestling potluck, that 3 p.m. Show, and it seems very interesting. I can't wait to see who shows up. And you know what? My calendar is set. I'll definitely be there for that. So that's great, man. I can't wait to talk to you about that then. But this weekend, 8900 Little River Turnpike, you need to get your buns over there because it's Nova Pro and it's going down this weekend. The Great Grapsy. You have Fred Yehi. You have Jonathan versus Jonathan Gresham. You have the fatal four-way match between Faye Jackson, Brittany Blake, Sis, Veda Scott, Cutie and the Beast versus the Carnies in the street fight, Sandwich Squad versus MMA, and more. And we haven't even left out, we've left out purposely, some tasty tidbits that you need to see live. You'll be there. I'll be jealous that I can't be there, but it's going down this weekend. $20 will get you in, $25 for the first row, which is that even sold out yet?
I believe we're at about 70% of the front row sold out. So there's still plenty of front row left, but they'll definitely be gone before we open doors.
So don't wait.
You want to get at that? Yeah, you might want to get on.
Just don't wait. Why procrastinate? This is not the wrestling promotion for procrastinators. Get your front row tickets right now. General admission is $20. JCC of Northern Virginia, and that will be a great time. It's a 8 o'clock start out there in Fairfax. So Mike, again, great to talk to you. We will talk to you in June, hopefully, for both. Before both shows. That's going to be a good time. I will make it. It's scribbled on my Harry Potter calendar now to be there in June to see both shows. So
it's gonna be a hell of a day of wrestling, and it's gonna be a hell of a night this Friday night.
Absolutely. So we're gonna cut it off then. Enough dilly-dallying. Get your tickets now. But as for Mike King of Nova Pro Wrestling, I am Jamal. You can find me on the Twitter at Giant Crab with a K, and for 2 Chains, Dr. M, Mr. Silly Sellis, Aaron, and Dwayne, I guess. In absentia, this is the Big Gold Belt Wrestling Podcast, and we will see you Thursday for the regular show and news. So much news. See you guys Thursday.